right now. Okay. I
Good
think
for
we
you
should,
for remembering.
yes. Thank you for whoever did that. I think that was Katie. Okay, so let's go look at what we did. And I'm hoping that others will join us if they are planning to be here today. So let's see what we did with Padlet. Get back to Padlet here. Oops, hold on a second. Let me just get this ready to go before we do that. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, where's everybody? I know, right? Oh my God. There we are, there we are, there we are. Okay, I am learning so much about Zoom.
Exactly, exactly.
It's just a learning curve.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Aren't we all?
All right. So we have lots of really exciting things to look at, as always, as always. Let me just get this up on the screen a little bit better. All right, so let's see, Tammy, you put some stuff up here. Let's talk about that.
I did. We don't.
How did that go?
Yeah,
for you?
we don't have to spend a lot of time on me. I didn't really, as much as I practiced, I realized I didn't really like a lot of the stuff that I did.
Yeah, that's okay. You don't have to like it. It's part of
layer.
Yeah.
But I really liked it as but I liked it as the starting layer.
Yes.
Right. So the primary base. So I feel like that's what I'm gonna do from now on. When I use this technique.
Yes. Well, this
because I really like this. This looks like a map.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. Let me ask you a question. So I'm thinking, Tammy, that this is actually the ghost where because you're printing white lines, in other words, the paper showing through, that this is a ghost of some of the stuff that you did with the initial trace monotype, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because like I kept doing it and like and I let everything sort of sit for a while and going over the stuff at the end. And I was using aluminum foil as well, which I kind like. I love like this kind of texture.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I think I want to try it with a few other materials.
Yeah. Did everybody get that? I just want to make sure that everybody, you probably saw that you left light white lines when you picked up. Yes, everybody saw that. And that you could actually make a print from that, which is what Tammy's got here. So it gives you, you know, again, you look at this and we don't know how it's done, which I happen to love that, you know, there's this element of how did she do that? You know,
exactly. Like I love the surprises.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to bring this up a little bit. This is a little slow connection up here to bring that up. Oh, here we go. So we can see a little bit more closely. What you got here? Okay. You know what? We're not going to do that. We're just going to go back. Okay. Sorry, everybody. So yeah, but that's really interesting, Tammy. And then let's bring this one up as well. Yeah, so here's the same thing where you are, you know, getting your line down, and it really does, it can, for some people, be just the thing, you know, just the thing that gives your print some structure, you know, and I think that, yeah, I can see that this really has worked out very well for you. So there's this, you know, line that our eyes want to follow contours, right? And that's, you know, what you've definitely got going on here.
Right.
This is, you know, really part of the beauty of, you know, working with this line, and there is no other way to get, you know, this exact thing. So anyway, all right, great. Thanks. Anybody have questions about anything that Tammy did here? No? Okay. Sally, how about you? What
Yes.
did you discover? What did you learn?
Oops, I'm here. So on this one, I didn't really, I need to keep working with the trace monotype because I didn't really, but I had fun playing with it. And on this one, the black lines that are vertical are actually from, I had some black paint mixed up on a paper plate and it had dried. And I thought, I wonder if it's completely dry or if it would make lines, and it did. So I just put the paper down on the paper plate and scratched with something and got those vertical lines. So that was kind of fun, realizing that, you know, I don't have to have the ink on a piece of plexiglass. I can have paint. I can have paint dried up anywhere and sort of use it.
Exactly.
And then I went in with white and played around. I mean, it's ugly. I don't like it, but it was fun. And I feel like there's potential that I just need to keep exploring.
Yes, exactly. And we are not judging our work. No. Keep that open mind, because
Thank God.
you guys are all, it's the learning. It's part of the learning. And this is all about trial and error and experimentation. So please do give yourself, great leeway here to play, and thank you for all of you for, again, being brave to put this out there. And but we're all in the same boat, and we all are really learning so much from other people. So that's the beauty of this. So this is fun. Tell me about you. So you blocked out this area as a stencil, or you blocked around it. Tell us what you did here.
Well, it started. No. It started as I had the green print, and I just did the trace monotype with black paint, and I traced a cat.
Okay.
But then it didn't show because it just sort of, the lines kind of disappeared into the background. It just wasn't thick enough or strong enough.
Yeah.
So I did the re-registration thing.
Great.
And then I painted the cat on my jelly plate, and then I flipped it over and pressed, and I actually love the result. I like the way the cat looks.
Terrific.
To me, it looks like it's looking at us, and it looks like it's ready to launch, and it looks really alive. So I thought that was a great result, even though it's messy. And
yes, and that's the other thing we were practicing was, trying to line up, if you felt like you had, you were interested in doing more of that, to just, use that. And you'll see how much, now that you know how to do this, it really does come in handy, as you discovered, Sally, with, trying to figure out, kind of move, making more of the print than it had been expected. So, this thing about, let me just say that, this thing about thinking that you should have the whole print, envisioned, and it should all be, I hope nobody really thinks that. This is, it's really hard to do that, and you're likely to, have to use some strategies to add to or change up, what your work. All the time. So it's just kind of the nature of it. And that's what makes it really fun, I think, because, you present yourself with a problem, and then you need to figure out how to solve it. That might be making it more satisfying to you, or, adding new colors, or whatever it is. Okay, let's see. Oh, Katie, are you still here at all? All right, she did this, we can take a look at these even though she's not still here. It looks to me as though she's using the brush mark here on the plate, maybe to,
I am here.
Okay, hi, Katie, yeah.
Adrienne, I am here.
Great, okay. Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about your, what did you learn with these things?
Yeah, so, again, I kind of took these in a sequence, and I did a couple of the, contour drawing, and another one of just kind of like a scribble type thing.
Yeah.
And I did the transfer, and some of the times I even did another layer of transfer. And this is, this is simply like working with color, and I used some textures. I played around with colors and stencils, and just to, you know, build on that and see where it goes. And I did, this was like one squiggle, and I realized when I went to transfer it again
Mhm.
to get color in it, it was reversed. So
Uh-huh.
I still reversed the black anyway. So I got this kind of scribbles, but it's kind of interesting. I'm not, I don't, it doesn't have a focus on it. And so,
Yeah.
and you know, I need to do some more of this to really understand the
Yeah.
process a little bit. And
Well,
I'm kind of
exactly.
curious as what some of the other people did and how they got those straight lines and how the first person got those textures, but I'm not going to be here that long. So, and then the other color, the other set, if you want to go to,
Yep. Sure.
is, but I would love to hear what, you know, what you have to say about this one too. Is,
Yeah. This looks pretty interesting too, Katie. So this
yeah,
is- yeah.
and
I mean,
there's actually 3 of them,
uh-huh,
but
okay.
I like showing the progression
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think again, you know, what happens with this one is the lines in it give this piece structure. So sometimes that's, you
Yeah.
know, really helpful, or that's what you need, you know, depending on the piece.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, it is a good idea to know, you know, how you can get lines. In this case, you weren't necessarily doing the transfer, but you were, you know, you used your brush and
Right.
paint to, you know, get it down too.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yes,
same kind of thing.
exactly. Right.
Mhm. But it's
Yeah.
great. I mean, that's what we're all about here, is learning all these different techniques, trying them in class. And then, you know, this is actually our midpoint through the whole 10 weeks. So from here on out, you know, we've really covered a lot. We will be paying more attention to, you know, composition, design, color, you know, things like that. And also how to use our prints in other kinds of ways to have them, you know, be can speak more loudly, if you will, about an idea that you might have. So I'm going to just move on here, Katie, and thank you for doing that. Let's just get to Nancy. Let's take a look at yours. You seem to be next in the lineup here. Tell us what you were up to, what you learned, what you discovered.
Sure. I was doing something taller, and so I was trying to do the registration.
Yeah.
And so I found that it was trickier.
Yeah.
And so I was using blue painter's tape to show where things might go to try to keep on registration.
Right. Yep. Yeah, no, painter's tape is a great way to keep your registration, especially since, as you say, this thing isn't going to fit underneath your plate. You've got to figure out some other way to do it. Nancy, I just lost you there for a second.
It
anyway,
might be
there you are.
Adria.
I think it's Adria.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Hi, it's me. It's me. Sorry.
Yeah, there are a couple others.
Okay. Sorry about that. There we go.
It's okay.
Okay. So you had to use your painter's tape to
So I
do
could
a registration.
try to do registration.
Right, because
Yeah.
it wouldn't fit in underneath. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, great. And, you know, this nice loose line, you know, it's great to know that you can do this in a print. And the other thing is that it's different looking than if you were to just paint it, you know, even saying, well, why bother doing this kind of line if you can do it just with paint? Because it has a different look. You know, there's something kind of different about
It does. There's a different quality.
Quality, which I personally really love. And you're not going to get any texture, and yet you get this implied texture. You see the texture in the work. So that's really, really very cool. All right, Nancy. Yeah. And so we have this other one here. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, this one, I discovered it really, after I was done, it needed the black lines. So I went back in and painted the black lines.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, that is perfectly fine. And that is what a lot of people do. As I said early in this class, I am not a purist. This is not I don't think this is a purist form. I think this is a form that is meant to get you to make work that's exciting and challenging to you, however you get there. And so maybe in traditional printmaking, the idea of adding something that wasn't actually printed might be frowned upon. That's not true in this class at all. I think it's all for the better. So you may just add paint directly to your piece and not necessarily go through
Right.
the hassle of switching it over if you don't need to. There really is
Right.
nothing, there's no right or wrong about that. I don't think. That's great. Okay, anything else?
Can I ask a question?
Please, yes, sure.
When you are trying to apply a finer line like this, are you just using, my black is pretty, even though it's open, it's pretty thick. And keeping the paint on the brush and it comes on thick. I'm wondering how what you use to get those really fine lines. I used the edge of the palette knife and the stuff I did, but I'm wondering, I was trying to figure out how to get that.
I went back in and painted the black lines with a paintbrush after I'd done the print.
With a thin paintbrush?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Katie, and that's, you can use
if my black is kind of thick.
Yeah, if your black is kind of thick, it means it's starting to dry. If it's
okay.
It's an open paint. Are you sure it's open?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it just is getting a little dry. If that happens, you can add just a tiny bit of water to it. Really like a drop, just to make it a little bit more flowing for you. Because the more paint, the more water you add to it, the less it's going to stick.
Yeah, it gets
to the surface. Yeah, great. Okay, no.
Should I add more gel? Or the medium?
Well, you could try that too. Yeah, both of those things are fine.
Okay,
and
thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Nothing is. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So let's see, Mary Ellen, you are next. Which one you want us to look at? This one here. Hello. Whoops. There we go.
Hello.
There we go. Yeah. So Mary Ellen, what do you want to? What did you learn?
That you need less paint than what you think.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the big takeaway.
Roll it out very thin.
Yes. Yeah. No,
and depending on what.
Yeah, go ahead.
Depending on what you use for a drawing implement, you get different kinds of lines. And this one here, I used a ballpoint pen and I got a very thin line.
That's great. That is actually great to remember. That's true. And, you can really use that to your advantage. And also by pressing harder in areas, I can see where you did a little bit of more pressure here and lighter pressure maybe there. You also can change the weight of the line, and that makes an interesting drawing. But those are all exactly right. You just, that you probably need a lot less paint than you're used to, especially on our jelly plate. So it's a little bit of a different deal. But yeah, that's great, Mary Ellen. And, you can just keep that in your pocket of possibilities. You may, find that you really want to use it on, X print or Y print, this is why we do this. Just down the line, it's another, really good thing to know that you can do. And here I see that you used a little bit of our famous packing.
Bubble wrap.
Yeah, bubble wrap. Thank you. Which, I love that the way you've used it, which is very, sparingly, and coming in and out of the image, and kind of dropping behind the line, so that, we have this, instead of, coming in with painting, just inside the lines, you're experimenting. All of you seem to be experimenting really nicely with kind of creating a very loose kind of, kind of like a reference or a a looser quality that gives us the idea that there's color in the flower, but we're not, we know that it is a kind of impression, kind of giving us an impression of that rather than being strict. And I think it gives this drawing a lot of life. So yay. Okay, good. And am I missing any? Let's see. Do you have another one here that has?
I had two others there as well.
Let's see. Is this one right? No, that's not yours.
No, they're up above.
Up above. Okay. Yeah. Here in a second. There we go. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. These two here. So yeah, this one I think you did use this line quite nicely here. And again, when you're using it abstractly, it gives you a lot more flexibility to kind of take chances. Yeah. What do you think about this one?
So that was one of the early ones that I did, which I considered to be a failure because there was so much of the black behind it.
Yeah.
And then I needed a piece of paper to print turquoise on.
Yeah.
So I could get a ghost for something else.
Yeah.
And so I just threw that piece of paper on top of the plate, and it changed the whole beam of the piece.
Yeah, no, I think it's quite successful there. So that's again, that is the great thing about, knowing all these different possibilities, and knowing, for example, that, to get a ghost, you gotta, get something down first, print it, and then, you're looking for the ghost one. And that really works very well behind that one. So yay. All right.
And the other one I was trying to see if I could use a color other than black.
Yeah.
So I used blue on that one, and it works.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You can use different colors. I think in general that obviously the darker colors read better, but there may be a time when you want to experiment with some lines that are not some dark color, and that's totally fine as well. Okay, great. Let's see, who else do we have here? Let's see, is anybody else here that we did not look at, whose work we did not look at? No, we're okay. All right, good, super. So let's go back to our, there we go. Okay, great. So today what I wanted to do is to sort of focus a little bit more on some of the elements of composition. Hi, Ellen, did you send anything via email to me? No, okay, all right, great, nice to see you. You slipped in there without my seeing you. Stealth joining the class. So that's where as I mentioned earlier in the class, week 5, right smack in the middle, I think it's time now that you all have, kind of a repertoire of possibilities out there, with stencil, with, trace monotype, with, being able to re-register, there's a lot about now. And so now we can actually start to play a little bit more with our prints and learn how to add to them. So the very first thing that I wanted to show you was a video about collage with your monoprints. And that's, Ellen, did you want to say something? You want to unmute?
You had mentioned positive, negative.
Oh yeah, positive, negative as well.
I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're going to, yes, thank you. We were going to do both of those things. Thank you. Let me see. What I think I want to do, let me see. Okay, you know what? We can switch gears. I can do the positive and negative first, and then we can talk about the collage, because both of those are super interesting ones, and they both actually have, they both can feed each other, because in the collage, we were really going to be talking a lot about positive, negative, and, composition in general, and, how you make your eye follow through an image. So let's do black and white. Absolutely. Okay. So this next video that I'm going to show you, I'm going to narrate through it, but what it is a way to learn about the possibilities of using your stencils. And let me just bring it up on my YouTube screen here first. Get us all ready to go. Yeah, using just one color, and I'm going to be asking you to stay with black and white, but if you don't have black, it doesn't matter. Again, you know, some dark color, and you'll see why it just works better with a darker color. And I'm going to just take a second here to bring this up. Let's see here. And so what we're going to be doing is a little bit of tiling, where we'll be making our images just one color, just black, but we'll be making several of them so that you're going to have like a repeat design. And you know, that is something that's really interesting to do. It kind of will remind you of, I think, fabric printing or other kinds of you know, design where you have a repeat. So just give me a second here. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. All right, and there we go. Okay, so move this over here so I can get that. All right, let me just start this from the beginning here. So wait a minute. Oh, there we go. Next. No. Everybody, I'm using a laptop today again, and I'm not as facile in it as I should be. So it's my problem here.
No worries.
Oh,
And
God. Shift
you're
S N. Okay.
with us directly. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So you're going to start with a black plate. You know, you again rolling up your ink, black, brown, purple, blue, you know, whatever, anything. And what I'm asking you to do is to think about positive and negative, and that is object and background. You know, there are numbers of different ways that we can talk about this, but this is such an essential part of composition that we really, it's nice to talk about it. Some of you may know about that. You may know those words, you may not, but it really is a great one, especially for when you're doing printmaking. So what it's talking about is the idea of using the entire jelly and not just thinking about plunking an image in the middle, but to really pay attention to your outer edges. So that's really key. So what I just did was I took a piece of paper and I just cut it up, you know, randomly. I cut a couple shapes out of it. And then what I'm doing is rearranging it on my jelly so that the negative space, thinking about that black, that would be the negative. You know, often we think about, I don't know, you say positive or negative, but anyway, you know, the shapes that are created and how to make both the negative and the positive shapes interesting. so that it's not just the focus on one image, and often it's in the middle of the page, it's about the edges, thinking about what you're doing with the edges. One of the things I always try to do is let my design go off the edges. It's really a good way to think about it. This doesn't mean always, and it may be sometimes you really want, to have much more white space around your image, but it is something that, we're going to focus on a little while here because it does help us all to become more aware. Even if you're working with large shapes of color and a very complex layered print, you still think about the negative positive. And, although it may be a little bit more hidden, not so direct as seeing it in black and white, it's still there. So this exercise, what I'm going to have you do is a number of, let's see, what should we say? Twin prints, the ghost and the original. So you're going to get, basically 2, sometimes even 3 prints that are the same. Albeit, some of them are going to be a little bit lighter. And then what we're going to see is when you mix and match and kind of put these designs down on the floor and rearrange them, you do get to make some really interesting, you see actually a much bigger image, first of all, and you get to see how these things can relate to each other. So this is on the floor. I've just put down some of the ones that I did just to show you, what that looks like. And you see, oops, hold on a second. You see that, yeah, how, what happens is, white ends up kind of lining up a little bit or doesn't, or black certainly almost lines up to create, a larger shape, bigger than the one that you certainly had started with. I also cut down these images with scissors so that we're not having any border. And this gives you, a real chance to play with the possibilities of the black and white. So, for our first, I don't know, half an hour of the class, I thought we would play with that and see what you all come up with. Yeah, how does that sound?
Fabulous.
Great. Thank you. Good. I'm so glad. So let's try it. There's nothing more than simply, as I said, big kind of, abstract shapes. Doesn't have to be, in fact, it shouldn't be anything. Keep it kind of, just kind of train of thought, nothing particular. But just think about using the whole space and really think about putting things on your edges or thinking how things can go off edges. So again, the focus is off the center and more toward the edges of your picture plane. All right, so yeah, let's work, and I'm here to answer any questions, but let's check back in about 20 minutes and see where we are. If we need a little bit more time, that's fine. But I'm going to guess to ask you to do, say, at least 2 sets, but hopefully 3 or 4. However many you do is fine. Sets of, 2 or 3 prints made from one plate inking up. Okay, so I'm here, and go ahead and feel free to turn off your camera if you'd rather, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions at the moment. I think what I'm going to do is move my computer back downstairs into the office where I have a much better connection and my regular computer. So just give me a second and I will be right back.
Great. You can sit down and do whatever you want. Oh, okay.
Okay, everybody, I am back and ready to help you.
It's all good.
Good. Excellent.
Adria,
Yes.
so I did two with one shape,
Okay, good.
and then but I don't have another, I don't think I have enough ink for another.
Okay, that's fine. Then just move on and make another couple of ones. You know, just maybe the next time when you ink up, put a little bit more paint on the surface.
Okay, so make another shape with and put more ink on. Okay.
Yep, that's right. Just do it. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you get one-offs, it's fine because you know, when you come to arranging them, you can just, you know, and nothing is like set in stone here. We're
Right.
just gonna be playing a little bit with a different arrangements. You could have a one-off, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Thank
all
you.
good.
I have one other question. Are we supposed to make the design or just make the prints?
Make the prints and yeah, what I'd love to do is have, once you've got like, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, you cut the edges off and, arrange them on the floor. Take pictures of them and then we'll put them up on Padlet or send them to me via email. Yeah, I know. Come on, you can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so actually, let me ask everyone about that now. Everybody, it's 12:30, which is fine. No, there's no hurry, but I'm wondering if we are ready to go ahead and cut the edges off some of your prints and put them together in some different arrangements and take a few pictures and put those up on Padlet. It would really be fun to see what you've come up with and, to see how these designs can relate to each other.
So wait, I'm sorry. Can you say the cut the edges off part again?
If you have any white edges, which you probably do, because I think in most cases your papers are larger than the plate, cut those edges off so that you have, a black and white that goes right up to the edge. And then you can rearrange them, Tammy, run that right next to another and then below,
Right.
and just kind of.
Like just cut off the outline part, like the frame.
Yes, cut out the frame. That's right. Cut the frames off of them. Any extra white paper on your print, just cut it off. I know that we don't usually do this, but in this case, when we're playing with these black and white pattern designs.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if you meant like cut off the corners, cut off the line,
Yeah.
straight lines. All right, thank you.
No. Yeah, but I'm just kind of telling everybody about that too, not just you, but yeah, just like as if you were just cutting out the outside edges. And then you don't have to tape them together or anything. Take a few pictures of, different configurations. Like you might want to try them, maybe there are two that really work with, well for you. Try them upside down, try them sideways with each other. Think about pattern designs, kind of repeat patterns and play with that idea, and you have a couple of different designs in there. So it's not all the same. It could really be fun to see how they work together, even the ones that are kind of more gray. It's still, you're repeating the design. So that is something that will be continuous throughout the whole set of these. So once you, cut out the edges, put them together on the floor in any way you want, and take a few pictures and then load those up to Padlet. Why don't we plan to look at them in about 10 minutes? Does that sound like a good time? Yeah. Okay, I'll check back in with everybody around 1:45 and see if you're ready to look then. Okay.
Adria, I have another question.
Yes.
So because we started at 11:30, does that mean we're going until 1:30 or we're still going to go until 1?
No, 1:30.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I know some people won't be able to make it. I'm so sorry about that. Oh, what a crunch. But it's all good. So I will be, of course, sending you the video recording. This is all supposed to go so easily, only yesterday when I was supposed to go down to fix the piece, the car battery had died because, of course, we were away during the cold stretch and it died.
Oh no.
So yeah, on top of everything else, racing, I paid for this vacation dearly.
Can you take a picture of the fixed work?
It actually didn't even really need to be fixed.
Oh no.
Yeah, the curator, she's very sweet. She was worried that it looked like, the two pieces were coming apart a little bit. And I kind of knew that they weren't, but you never know. So when I went there, I saw that they really weren't pulling apart. It was fine.
Oh my God.
I know. Yeah, but
You get stuck in the snowstorm, right?
we ended up spending a couple extra days in Tucson, which was really, so tragic.
Exactly.
It's horrible. It was just, they canceled the flights and everything. Although we had rearranged for flights because we saw the writing on the wall, like on Wednesday when they were saying the storm of the century, we're like, uh-oh, you know what this means. So we did rebook, but then they canceled anyway. So it would have been fine, except that I had all these, like crunch, other things that needed to be done all promptly as soon as we got back. And that was just, problematic. What can I say?
Well, I'm glad you're safe and sound. Glad you're here back in.
Thank you. And I was actually going to, do this Zooming from the college where the piece is. If I really had thought that I was going to have to be there, for a longer time and just do everything from there, and then we return to the fixing up part. But I got done really quickly. I mean, I actually did take some paint to do a little bit of touch up on things. So that took like 15 minutes, but yeah.
I had the misfortune of having to stay in Cancun for an
Oh
extra
my
week.
God, Mary Ellen, that's
It was horrible.
I'm so sorry.
It was kind of, everything was in a disarray because there had been a hurricane. And, the roads were closed, the airport was closed, the hotel dining room was a mess.
Oh no.
So it was nice to be able to stay in the sun for an extra week, but it was kind of crappy.
Yes, it sounds like it. Yeah. Oh boy. Gosh. Well, it can be dicey to travel in New England, in the winter, because you just never know if you're going to be able to get back on time. And I guess always pack more underwear than you think you're going to need. No.
My boss was not happy with me that trip.
Oh.
But what could I do?
Yeah, no.
Not like I intentionally planned it that way.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to walk back? I mean,
It was amazing the lengths that people went to get back, because there was a whole crowd of Brits there. And somebody hired a bus and they went to Belize or some other country down that way and flew out of there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was too much work for her. It was Hurricane Wilma. It was a Category 5 and it sat over the area for 4 days.
That must have been really scary, Mary Ellen, no?
It was, because all she heard was the rat tat 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 of the door banging all the time. Afraid that it was going to blow in. And we had to take the mattresses off the bed and put them up against the sliders, so in case the sliders broke, that the glass wouldn't go flying everywhere.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like a Laverne and Shirley episode.
Shirley Feeney?
Yeah, like a really great deal on a resort.
Right.
And they flew, and it was like the walls weren't even finished, and then there was a hurricane.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because my last name is Feeney and Shirley's last name is Feeney.
That's so funny.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
I've never met a Feeney in person, so it's
Well, now you have.
Okay, everybody, about 5 more minutes. Do you think that in 5 minutes we can get a few of these up?
When Laverne and Shirley was on, I was teaching and I had a 3rd grade class. They took a lot of pleasure in teasing me about Shirley Feeney.
That's great. What did you teach? Oh, you taught grade school, Mary.
Yeah.
Mary Ellen. Yeah, great.
Started out just a classroom teacher and then I ended up being a reading specialist.
Ah,
And then I moved on.
uh-huh. We appreciate you.
I only taught for like 8 years, 9 years, something
Mm.
like that. And then I became a computer programmer
Oh,
for
wow.
12 years, and then I was a travel agent for 25.
Wow.
That was the best job, the travel agent.
Yeah.
Didn't pay anything, but it was fun.
Uh-huh. Well, I've been teaching art most of my adult career. I had was 7 years at the Arlington Center for the Arts as the education director there. But I,
Oh, wow.
yeah. All right, just another couple of minutes. Go ahead and take some quick pictures, a couple of different arrangements of these black and white pieces, and we'll take a look and see what we've done. Okay, let's let's take a little break and see what you have been doing, everybody. So you can unmute yourselves so I can hear you. And let's just get to Padlet here. Okay, fun. I know people are getting things up. That's great. Super. Tammy, Nancy, Mary Ellen, great. So what did we think about this exercise? Sally, great.
It was really fun.
Good. Yeah. I mean, what did you, what did you get out of this whole thing? What did you sort of think about and discover as you were working?
Well, again, for the 8 millionth time, I remembered that you can't use a stencil that has some wet paint on it. So I had a lot of mistakes. Let me just upload something.
Sure, go
I
ahead.
did a lot of ghost prints with tissue paper that turned out really cool.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, good. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's this kind of a little
never mind.
exercise really lends itself to lots of possibilities. All right, Sally's going to upload some stuff. Anybody else need to upload? Let's see. Ellen, did you send me emails?
I didn't, because I mean, I love the exercise and
Yeah.
I feel like I want to do it again.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could use it to make really interesting shapes too.
Yeah.
I love that idea. Love it. But it just didn't, unless I really cut the shapes out because of my white space, I can't make interesting designs.
Okay, well, maybe but just by looking at, some of the other things from the class,
Yeah,
you'll get some ideas.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. Yeah, just
Okay.
wanted to make sure that I had everybody up here. All right, well, let's see. I'm going to start with Mary Ellen. She's on the top thing here, and she looks like she's ready to chat. So, Mary Ellen, pretty interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, what do you think? What do you think of what you did?
I think
here?
it's an interesting exercise, and I liked playing with the different shapes and moving them around,
Yeah.
and then also putting it on the floor and making different designs.
Yeah. That's
These
great.
shapes are shapes I had. They're not shapes that I cut out while
That's
we were. So that's kind of cheating.
No, it's fine. No, but I mean, the
And
point
they-
is that you really were thinking about the edges, because I can see, going right off the edge here, which might be something that you hadn't done before. Everybody's
Never.
a little bit different, but
Right.
it's fine. I don't really care, what you're, where it's from. It's just the thought about, really paying attention to these positive, negative, what that means, and how, these shapes are like interlocking puzzle parts. They really are. One cannot exist without the other. That is how, all, composition needs to be thought of. Like, what the thing next to the other is important and, relates to the thing next to it in various ways. So yeah, really, really good. Yeah.
And the ghost did not work out well at all.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Just not enough paint.
Well, it got, there was not enough paint, and it got kind of smudgy,
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah. But you have some nice, strong black and white ones here, and it's fun because you can see that they're not exactly the same, and you've also put them upside down and sideways in different orientations, so there's this like common vocabulary of the kinds of shapes you're using, and also this way in which the whole thing reads together. So that's something that you can use also whenever you're making prints, to think about putting more than one, out by itself, putting, ones next to it or threesomes or whatever. It is a really interesting way of working, and also a way to get a little bit larger, because the jelly plates that we're using are pretty small, 8 by 10 only gets you so far, but you can see that, you can definitely go bigger if you are putting your prints together, or, you're actually, we're going to be doing this later on in this class, taking a larger sheet of paper and using the jelly, more as a stamp printer. So, rather than making, letting them up for, hey, Mary Ellen, so these are about the same? Similar?
They're all similar.
Okay, great. Okay, yes, so, yeah, this one's, yeah, anything you're noticing about this work that's interesting to you? Anybody have any? That's fine.
That's cool.
I just wanted to say that all of this makes me feel like I want to get a big jelly plate.
Yes. Yeah, they do. Well, the biggest one is, I think, 12 by 14. And it is fun. And yes, it is a very, it's seductive to be able to work that big. It really is great. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's see, Nancy, you're next here. You've got a couple of ones to put out. What did you take away from this?
Yeah, this is a 9 by 12 jelly plate, and I was using really big shapes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So that was
nice.
fun.
Yep.
And then the other thing I put up, these were the first prints, then I did ghosts, and then I peeled the shapes off. And this other guy was the print you got after you peeled the shapes off.
Yes.
And I really liked those as much as anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
What an interesting thing. So again, somebody looking at this will never know how you got here.
Right.
It's really mysterious. And, this line thing is just, an extraordinary, interesting development, Yeah, it looks like Troy paper, but we know it isn't. It's all flat. It's got this interesting, variation in the background too. And then, you've got this very, I hate to use the word interesting, but I'll use it again. An interesting, positive, negative. It doesn't matter what you're calling positive or negative, but there's definitely, space and then other space around it. So, if you've got that going for you, you really have an extraordinary piece, that doesn't even, you may say that's done. It doesn't need color. It doesn't need anything else. It's finished in a very kind of lovely, minimal way. So that's super interesting. So everybody understands how this happened. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Picking up the paper from a stencil and printing what was underneath of it left over will give you these edges, because what happens is the paint gets kind of stuck in the edges. Even though it's really thin and your paper's super thin, the paint still gets stuck even in that little tiny increment between the plate and the paper. And so that's why you're printing it. Very cool. Okay, let's see, Tammy, you're next here. We're working in green, which is fine. Yeah, so you have, and look, this piece really reads as a whole, so nicely, and yet it's not boring because each one of these is different, each one, has this different feeling about it, like, and textural things and, more white or less white, or edges that are, more striated. Anyway, what do you think?
So it's really funny. I did this completely like blind when I was reading it. And now that I'm looking at it, I feel like it looks like Walden Pond.
Oh.
I'm actually I'm totally obsessed with the Walden Pond.
Yes.
I went there the other day to collect like pine and like leaves and stuff. So I want to create something around that. So I was really surprised when this came out, because I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it does. It's like an bird's eye view of the pines.
Yeah.
And even sort of the feeling of water or the feeling of ice, on the edges. So it's simple, and yet quite extraordinary results. You don't need thousands of colors. You don't need thousands of textures. You can do, some very exciting things simply by, one process, one color.
Yeah. So another, like, the reason I chose green is that every week I'm trying to like stay within a certain palette.
Yeah,
So I know what I did one week to another.
that's good. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. This is exactly, that's what this class is for. Take it slow, learn the things to get your grounding. And then, it's all kind of all in you when you start to really play and experiment. Let's see, Sally, you have two here. Let's just check out your first one.
Oh, I just put up, we looked at that one already. I just put up the
We
other
didn't
one.
really look at it. No, we didn't really look at it. We did
Oh.
give it its due. Because I think this is very interesting what you've done here by cutting out the background.
I think I didn't quite get the assignment.
And then, if you know my work, you'll know why I like sort of these edges that don't go right to the, no rectangles. Even, it's possible to hang this on a wall and have it in irregular edges. That's totally possible, and glue this whole thing together and have it be a collage. And I think that's really striking. So again, simple, but very powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is this something that you've done before? Are you someone who cuts?
No, just in here, but
Wow.
I do like it a lot.
Yeah, very fun. Yep. Good. And then this other one here, which is our
That was just to show you all my mistakes and all the,
mistakes. Just
when it came
learning.
time to put them together and take a photo, I wasn't quite sure how to do that. So I just showed you everything.
Yeah, well, it would be interesting, I think, if you, went out and cut right out to the border and, and then put maybe, some of these together, even as triptychs, or
Oh, I
just
see.
sticks. You could
Oh,
do
now
that.
I get the assignment. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. It's, I think Mary Ellen's first one here is
Yeah.
pretty indicative of what,
Yeah.
the sort of set I had thought. But I love when you guys come up with different, interpretations of it. But I do think, like this one, if you cut right off to the edges and put it next to, if that was in the middle between two black ones, or,
Mhm.
anyway, grouping them, however way. But, this is also really interesting because, you're making your own negative spaces.
Mhm.
And just a little variation on a theme. I love it. Great.
Okay.
Okay, and nobody else right now, right? Okay, all right. Great, so super. That was really fun. And, hopefully that's just something you can, think about. If you're stuck and you're not sure what to do, there you go. Start like that. And you can also imagine, print, if you did want to print over, any, like, let's take this one with Nancy. Nancy, suppose that you said, all right, how about an additional color? I mean, I don't think it needs it, but you might, do that. You could think about, doing the same thing and having the next color take up some of the white and, cover some of the black. Maybe that's what happens next. But they really can be developed into, multicolor pieces as well. Okay, any questions?
I have to leave.
Oh, you have to leave. Okay, Mary Ellen, sorry about that.
Not to
next
worry.
week, I promise you, we'll be back and everything will be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, take care. Bye. Okay, so what I want to do now is talk a little bit about this collage process. And again, that's all going to be in the video, Mary Ellen, don't have to worry. So let me take a look at that. Let's just get that up on the screen here and have you take a look at this, and I will talk you through it because I think it's not narrated. So, all right, here. Yeah, let me just bring it up before we get started. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So adding collage to prints. The first part of this, I may just sort of go a little bit more quickly at the beginning because it's actually sort of taking you through a lot of the stuff that we've already done here. So I may just fast forward here through this. And what this is basically is, well, actually in this one, it's interesting. What I'm doing here is I'm starting off with a little glob of, this is Titan Pale Green. Remember the color that I talked about, I think maybe last week or before, but it's kind of putty color, And it's an interesting choice for an opaque color. As I said before, putting down first, is it's fine. It's not going to give you a whole lot of I don't know. It's not going to do a whole lot to the print. It's just going to be like another base color. But I think I was doing this just to show students that you certainly can start it like that. So we're going to just sort of fast forward through this. And there we go with a nice coverage. And then pulling a print with that. Yeah, I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to go through pretty fast. So you see what I'm doing here is, basically a 2 or 3 color print, putting down an image to, a stencil shape. So kind of working up to a point. So you can see, both the print on blue, and then you'll see I'm printing the ghost, I think, on this one to the right. Anyway, this is basically taking you through stuff you already know. But then the point is that you may get to a point on your print where you are really sort of stuck. And you like it well enough, but it's missing something. Well, remember, I had done this, I think, last week, showing you that you could just put anything with a little cap, directly into your open paint and, put it right down on the jelly and then use that as a mark making tool, which is really fun. So I went ahead and did that. And that's something that, you're welcome to bring in any of these techniques now that you know about them as we move forward in the class. So just kind of fast forward a little bit more here to having these prints. Oh, yes. Okay. So we've got 2 prints. And the point here is, okay, what next? And, deciding to stop printing on them. What are some of the things that I can do in terms of collage that could be interesting? And why would I maybe rather collage than paint or make more prints, whatever. So this is to answer that question. Whoa, I think, yeah, whoa, all right. Okay, so I had this other print that I had made. And I'm like, okay, the thing about this print is maybe it needs something else too. But these are both kind of, I don't think there's anything wrong with these at all. But, they could maybe use a punch. Maybe they need a little bit more pizzazz before I feel like they're done. Or maybe, maybe there's a place, suppose this is, you're working away and you're saying to yourself, I don't really like a certain area. It's not, you don't have to throw away your print at all. In fact, this is the time when you can get really rich into finding ways to save your print. And it could be by collaging. And so we love collage. And here I've just cut out an element that is really radically different from everything else. And I feel like it works because it has a black edge, which kind of ties into the oops colors here that were here. Whoopsie. There we go. That were here already. But it introduces another color and another total shape. So I think that's kind of interesting. What if I plunk that down there? And then what if I took this round shape from that same older print and used part of it to activate the edges on this other print here, which was the one we started with, the Titan Pale Green, this one here. So this really works because it echoes the circle shapes that are already down here too. So it's not like it's a completely foreign element. And so, just kind of trying things out before I glue anything down, seeing what might make both of these more interesting to look at. That's where we are with it. Once you are to that place, you may decide, all right, let's glue it down. So what I'm using here is soft gel matte medium or soft gel gloss medium or just plain old Elmer's glue, whatever the adhesive you have is fine. Is fine. I like the soft gel matte medium because it's matte. If you happen to get a little bit on the paper by mistake, it doesn't show much. It just kind of disappears right into it. So that's what I like to do. But then, take something on the back of your paper image and just, cover the back of that collage element and then just stick it down. And, if you go right over to the edges and you really are, very careful about getting all the little corners down, you will get a pretty seamless look to your collage. You won't even be able to see that it's collage unless you get really close up to it. So as you can see, I changed my mind and I'm just using part of that. And again, I'm going right off the edges. That's sort of the thing that I noticed that I do a lot to in my work. I go to the edges, like I was just telling you all. I think that it makes a more active design and it keeps you from, getting just too centered with everything kind of smack in the middle, and keeps the eye moving too. Your eye wants to go, back and forth. It's going to seek out similarities, relationships, and it's going to go to the contour. So it's funny because I don't remember exactly how I ended up finishing these. It's been quite a while since I did this particular video, but yeah, it's funny that I ended up actually cutting it apart. But as you can see, this is a way that you can easily change and add to and, hopefully improve on your work, make it more exciting to you, just by the addition of the collage work. I think that is it here. Yeah, so there we go. And I wonder if you have any questions. Yeah, so what I'd love for you to do now is to try some collage on your own and see what happens when you take some of the prints that you thought were less than superior. It's a great way to start. You've already got something. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can take what you've already got started, cut it in half, cut it, and then glue it onto another sheet of paper. It's very freeing to know that, the sky's the limit and where you take that. Sally, I could see you're taking those 3 pieces that were kind of, at different edges, not squared or rectangular, gluing that on another sheet of paper and playing with that, as a way to start. So at any rate, you all have probably some ones that you'd like to get into. So let's see how we go. Let's do a little bit of collage for the next, say, 15 minutes or so, and then we will be about ready to end it up. And again, I am here for any questions or other kinds of issues should you want to ask me. And yeah, try it out.
Sorry, I'm gonna jump off. See you guys next week. Tammy. I'll see you all next week. Take care.
Take care, Tammy.
Bye, Tammy.
Couple more minutes, everyone, and we will see what everybody has been working on. So plan to stop at 1:20. All right, let's stop here and see what you've got or how that all went. We don't have to put it up on Padlet now. Why don't we just go around and each one of you can show a little bit about what you're doing. Anybody want to start? Just unmute yourselves. Sally, yeah. You want to start and show us what you've been up to here?
So this is one of the tissue paper ghosts,
Oh, yeah.
and I just put it on, I put it over one of the black prints. And if the print maybe were red instead of black, you could see it better, but you can probably see through it enough to see where the original shape was right here.
That's a great idea. Yes. And, I don't know if you had trouble. How was the gluing for you? Because if you add a little bit of water to your medium, you can spread it out a little bit more and isn't so glumpy.
Ah,
yeah.
I'll
and the
try
button in
that.
the back. Yeah, not so much that you might be ripping your paper, but just enough so
Right.
it, yeah, that's that
Right.
fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Good.
I love
Yeah.
this class. This has been really fun.
Oh, I'm so glad. Nancy, did you want to show us what you tried?
No, I got sidetracked, so I don't have anything to show.
No worries, no worries. But you're somebody who does a lot of collaging.
Yes,
already.
I do. I love
know that.
collage.
Yeah. Ellen, how about you? Do you want to show us anything you've been playing with over there?
I didn't exactly do the collage, but I really
Oh, that's neat.
Nice.
I started playing off of like what I saw.
Great.
I thought that was kind of cool.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. There you
And
go.
then I cut out one of the shapes. I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see it. And I just thought it was like much neater when I cut it out. I really liked the shape that I made.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
So I'm
Nice.
gonna have fun playing with those shapes.
Absolutely. It's all good. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the way to go. If something just gets you, go for it. It doesn't, yeah. Well, good. I mean, it sounds like, you guys are engaged and, have some ideas as to how to move forward. I mean, the homework for this week really will be playing with, both of these things. If you're interested in more of the, positive, negative, play with that. If you're interested in, kind of moving forward with the collage, there's so many places to take it. And it really is such, this is like I said earlier, it's a big kind of watershed moment in this class because, we're sort of, we got down the basics and we're really ready to start exploring and taking a little bit more control with the prints to make them behave more as you would like them to behave, now that you know some ways that you can actually manipulate them. So that's what I think we should do, is just continue with that for next week. Ellen, yeah?
I really am still having trouble feeling like I'm in control.
Oh yeah.
Like when I want to add more color,
Yeah.
sometimes it just doesn't come out. Like it's not like putting paint on a brush and painting it. It doesn't necessarily follow what I want it, to do.
Yeah, and that I think is the big difference between painting and printmaking. Printmaking, because it's always going to be backwards, because you're never going to know exactly what it will do, or if you had enough paint or too much or not enough, whatever. It's always going to be a surprise, and I think that's something to love about it, and but it might be a little bit different for you and something you're not used to doing. So hang in there with it. Did we lose you, Ellen? Oops, we lost her. But anyway, yes, that's an unpredictability of the printmaking process that, you either love it or you don't. But I do think the thing about it is that it engages us in our art practice. It's like, it doesn't take you to a dead end. It takes you to enormous possibility. Well, that's what I have to say today. It's like everybody,
Thank you.
I'm losing everybody. Oh dear. But thanks for hanging in there, you guys. Today was kind of weird, but I got through it. Oh my God, I'm so glad today is all right. But great to see you all. And
Thank you,
We'll see
Adria.
you next week.
see you next
Yeah.
week. Bye-bye.
Bye.